Hello everyone, it's Joseph Dunphy here, and this is your weekly Grass10 grazing management update on the dairy edge. The pasture-based data for the week: the average farm cover is 816 kilos dry matter per hectare, the growth is sitting at 10, and the diet currently being offered is 8 kilos of grass, 4 kilos of meal, and 4 kilos of silage. Dry matter percentages recorded over the last number of days: 19% in Moore Park, County Cork, 21% in Oak Park, County Carlow, 21% in Grange, County Meath. Grass grow predictions over the coming 7 days are expected to be in the region of 16 to 21 kilos. The weather forecast as well seems quite settled, with between 10 to 12 millimetres of rain expected for the south and the east, and between 15 and 20 millimetres of rain expected for the west and the north. Average soil temperatures are expected to remain around normal at between 7 and 8 degrees. Your Grass10 tips for this week: the key messages this week from the Grass10 team is to get grazing back on track. Weather conditions have improved significantly throughout the country, and get grazing back on track on your farm by grazing medium covers of 800 to 1,000 kilos of dry matter per hectare. It's vital as we enter March to complete an average farm cover this week on pasture base and update stock numbers. This is going to tell us the percentage of the farm that we graze throughout February and also growth rates. We then have to make a plan for the remainder of March and early April. If you're on target with 20% plus of your farm grazed by the 1st of March, then the target is still 60% by St. Patrick's Day and 100% by in around the 10th of April. If you're slightly behind target and have 10% of the farm grazed by March 1st, then readjust your plan. Your new plan is 30% by St. Patrick's Day, 60% by the 1st of April, and 100% starting the second rotation by about the 15th of April. If you had very little grazing done, less than 5%, or no grazing done whatsoever by the 1st of March, then the new target is 30% by St. Patrick's Day, 60% by the 1st of April, and finishing your first round on about the 20th of April. This week in the Grass10 newsletter, we did more of an in-depth dive into the dairy farm cover data from Pasture Base Ireland. We looked at the bottom third, the middle third, and the higher third in terms of average farm covers from Irish farms. About 35% of the farms had a cover of under 750 kilos of dry matter per hectare. About 34% were between 750 and 900, and 31% were over 900. Knowing where you are is key to planning out the remainder of your first rotation, but also planning out how much grass that you're able to allocate your cows. For people who are under 750, it's largely going to be grass by day, with a target grass allocation of about 6 to 7 kilos of grass and a targeted demand for your farm of around 15 kilos of dry matter per hectare for the coming weeks. If you're between 750 and 900, the target is about 8 to 10 kilos of grass, so it's grass by day, and maybe 2 to 3 hours again after evening milking, with a targeted demand of about 16 to 20 kilos of dry matter per hectare. If you're over 900 kilos of dry matter per hectare, the targeted grass allocation should be between 10 and 12 kilos of grass, which is full-time at grass with current intakes. We encourage everyone to get back walking the farm weekly because it's important to manage that average farm cover drop during March. What we want is people to manage that drop from 900 kilos of dry matter per hectare, as an example, on the 1st of March, to the target of over 200 kilos per livestock unit on the 10th of April. So that means we can afford about 300 kilos of a drop over 6 weeks, or 50 kilos per hectare per week of a drop. Average farm cover drop will generally be higher on higher stock farms, and this needs more monitoring. The grass budget on pasture base is the ultimate spring grazing tool. Very useful tool as it will account for grass recovery and regrowth, so make sure you complete one or update the one completed earlier in spring on Pasture Base Ireland. Are you up to date with your nutrient application? The target nutrient application by early April is 60 units of N per acre, or 75 kilos. Apply dilute slurry at 2,000 gallons per acre, or a second application of chemical N at 23 units of N per acre of a urea-based product to graze ground. For ground that has received no chemical N or slurry to date, apply 30 to 35 units of nitrogen per acre. Aisling Claffey, Teagasc nutritionist, has completed a Q&A on early lactation nutrition questions. It'll be available on the Teagasc website over the coming days, and the link to it will also be available on the Grass10 X and Instagram account. Common questions that will be answered are: how much energy, protein and fibre does the cow need in early lactation? What is the nutritional benefit of getting 1 or 2 grazings into the diet each day? And what should I do if I'm tight on grass or ground conditions prevent grazing? So make sure to check out that Q&A over the coming days. Featured farmer in this week's podcast is John, Eileen and Michael O'Callaghan from Mourneabbey, County Cork. They're milking 160 cows. They've 63% calved, and cows are grazing by day at the minute for 3 to 4 hours, and the plan is to push to 2 grazing allocations per day. The average farm cover is sitting in at 885 kilos of dry matter per hectare. The demand is at 14 kilos of dry matter, and 14% of the farm is currently grazed. From a nutrient application point of view, this week, land that receives slurry and fertiliser earlier in spring will get another 20 units of nitrogen. Another land that is suitable to travel that did not get anything early on is going to get 30 units of nitrogen. The O'Callaghans are holding a spring pasture morning on Wednesday the 12th of March at 11 a.m. on their farm in County Cork, so make sure to visit if that's local to you. If you'd like to hear more from the Grass10 team, subscribe to the weekly Grass10 newsletter, which is available on the Grass10 page on the Teagasc Public website, and the link to the newsletter is also available in the description of this podcast. We'd like to also thank the sponsors of the Grass10 campaign, AIB, Grassland Agro, Department of Agriculture, FBD and the Farmers Journal. This has been your Grass10 update, and I'll talk to you all next week.